Supervisors, please take your seats. Give them a moment. You'd all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. The Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome. If you all supervisors push your P and plus button for attendance, please, I would appreciate it. To my knowledge, we have 28 in attendance this evening, and that's the way it appears. All right, first order of business is citizen comments. Citizens will have 5 minutes to address the board. If you'd like to speak, please approach the microphone, state your name and address, and again, you'll have 5 minutes. Any citizen comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Ed Sinnen, 5217 41st Avenue in Kenosha. I'm one of the laid-off guys from the Highway Department. I just wrote up a little something here. I'm upset with the Kenosha News. It seems like they don't want to print our opinions in a timely manner or at all. So I'm kind of voicing my opinion here a little. To my understanding, an executive is defined to protect and to serve public health, welfare, and safety with good moral decisions and citizenship for all of us and our children as governed by law. We have a strike clause in our contract at the Highway Department. There is good reason for that because it's for the safety and welfare of the taxpayers. Apparently, upper management don't understand that with 14 people laid off and 6 unfilled retirement positions open, jeopardizes the general public safety. Excuse me. Will management step up to the plate when an accident occurs and take responsibility when someone gets killed? It's not a matter of if, but when. With all the neglected shoulders and protruding brush, it will happen. The big picture is the health and safety and welfare of anybody behind a wheel, walking, or riding a bike is at stake. The more I talk to people, everyone seems to have several stories about unsafe roadways that need to be maintained. People believe that it's just ludicrous that workers are laid off and their services are not being rendered. People that I've talked to are upset because their taxes are not being lowered, but their services have been cut dramatically. The majority of the people feel that the officials could put their heads together and manage the spread of our funds across the board more evenly and fairly to protect the health, safety, and welfare for all, and to keep all Kenosha workers working. All non-union employees should take wage cuts across the board to save Kenosha jobs, not just union labor. I think I covered most of the topics except for the one, so I'm throwing it right back at you guys. There are 3 questions people keep on asking. One is, how can they help? And 2 is, how do they make a complaint and where do they send a complaint? And 3 is, how do they make sure their complaint is looked at and rendered? Some people called in about unsafe brush and shoulders and nothing is done yet. The moral of this issue is we don't want to be held hostage to political wrangling. Being laid off and with health insurance taken away is absurd. A guy would like to leave his mark on the world with good morals, good examples, good health and safety, being a good role model for us and the future of the next generations to follow, and to keep people working with reasonable benefits. Why is safety not being considered at all? Thank you for your time and your ears.
Thank you, Mr. Sinnen. Any other citizens wishing to speak? Any other citizens wishing to speak? Move to the microphone, please. If not, citizens' comments are closed. Announcements of the chair. I have just a couple I'm going to, on your, on the agenda this evening is appointment number 16, Supervisor O'Day to the Brookside Board of Trustees, and I'm going to ask at that time, unless there's opposition, that we move that appointment this evening for the purpose of replacing Supervisor, or former Supervisor West as quickly as we can on that committee, given his current health condition. So I'd ask at that time that we move that appointment without referring it to committee. Secondly, I have a notice that came to me through County Executive's office, a great opportunity for a supervisor to take part in the Kenosha History Center, Kenosha County History Center, celebrating National Lighthouse Day with an ice cream social and a pie eating contest. So we're looking for a volunteer. I'm sure Supervisor Rose would like to volunteer for that, but I'm willing to take other nominations from the floor. What kind of pie? I have no idea. The date is August 7th, Saturday, August 7th, and if I was in town, I'd be in town. So anyhow, August 7th, if you'd like to be a part of that, either let myself know or Jenny, who is praying that someone steps up so she can cancel her hair appointment and partake. On a more serious note, the next item I have, I attended last week the Wisconsin Way Blueprint for Change 2010, which is a presentation by the Wisconsin Way Group, Public, Inclusive, Fair Initiative, Public, Inclusive, Fair, Innovative, Effective is their tagline. And I will tell you that for those of you who haven't gotten up to speed, heard anything about the Wisconsin Way, I urge you to take the time. I'm going to have this document copied by the clerk and put in our packets. As reluctant as she is to make all these copies, she'll do that for us. I think there's some real opportunity here for the Kenosha County, Wisconsin Counties Association, and others to get involved. It is really a, as I mentioned, they refer to it as a blueprint for change. It's 4 key components: economic development, tax reform and modernization, government spending and management reform and modernization, and then costs and benefits. I'll put this in your packet. I think this is something that we're going to need to and should take advantage of getting up to speed as quickly as we can. I believe there's some great ideas here. Whether or not we'll be able to get all of our elected officials in the local level, state level involved to make the changes that I think are going to be necessary going forward or not remains to be seen. It will be a long road to get there. It's not something they intend to do overnight. But I believe it's something that is on the right track. They have a number of summits coming up throughout the year, the balance of this year, and I'll make sure those dates are brought out to everybody so you're aware when they are, and if there's any way we can get a representative there and some attendance to it, we'll see if we can do that. So I'll have this copied and put in your packet for the next mailing. That's all I have. Supervisor reports. Supervisor Kubicki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to make a note that the Legislative Committee met earlier tonight discussing Resolution Number 8, authorizing the placement of the November 2010 ballot of advisory referendum of a possible additional tax for mass transit purposes. We didn't get through to where I wanted to by the end of the session. So what I've decided to do is have another meeting on a non-county board night, and I will be bringing that date and time forward to all the membership. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Kubicki. Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee met last Wednesday, July 14th. On the agenda was the 3 resolutions, Resolution 35, 36, and 37, relating to the Law Enforcement Justice Assistance Grant, the WCS, which is the Wisconsin Pretrial Intensive Supervision Program, part of the DOT, which is, as I stated, the Wisconsin Correctional Services that monitors drunk drivers who are out on bond, and also the grant for the Organized Drug Enforcement Task Force. Also, I just want to commend the county clerk's office for their diligent work regarding the passports. It's something new. I was surprised to read in the paper that we were doing that we were implementing the passports, and the Kenosha County is gaining additional funding through the applications. I know that there's been a big move these last couple of weeks because the federal government increased the application cost, I believe, additional $25 per application. So I just want to commend the staff of the clerk's office for the work they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Michael. I believe the increase was actually $35 that just went into effect, and on day one they had 87 applicants that they had to take care of. So, Supervisor Overman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll begin with a series of one-liners on who should be in the pie eating contest. We'll start in the corner. Report from Highway and Parks Committee. I'm sure you've all followed the plight of the laid-off workers with the Highway Department. Our last meeting we held at the Pringle Nature Center. We try to meet there at least once a year so people on the committee can see the center. A lot of people don't even know where it is. And the majority of our audience was highway workers. I believe right now we're down to 60, and there had to have been 30 there. And you've heard the comments. We're hoping that this can be worked out. I believe there was meetings this week again, so it's something that we're not even privy to all the discussions because we can't be naturally with the agreements they have for contract negotiations. Road work is abundant in the state of Wisconsin, and Kenosha County is as a buzz as anywhere. If you travel out west right now, Highway 50 has a $4.7 million project going on from Highway 75 to the county line of Walworth, replacing asphalt that was put in on that, replacing it with concrete. After Country Thunder, which begins Thursday, Highway P and 50 intersection is going to be reworked, new turn lanes, stoplights. I think if you follow the newspaper, the DOT said that there was a 70% above the average amount of accidents at that intersection, an intersection with lighting in the state. The KD Park entranceway work, Highway KD is closed from Highway P to Geneva Road, which is Old 50. The turn lanes, the entrance to the park are being put in, and that road work will be, or that road will be closed probably until October. At the KD Park, we also have the work crew that we had last year, the youth crew from Human Services, that we grabbed as many as we could. They're working again on the trails, the designated trails for that future park. Most were cut in last year. They're mulching trails, rocking trails, and working out there every day. Dog parks are busy. And one little bright spot in the parks also is the new disc golf course that we took a chance on last year. It's become quite popular in Fox River Park. If you've never seen disc golf, you just take a ride out there and see what it's all about. It's become popular enough that an abandoned storefront in Silver Lake has just opened a very well done new disc golf where you can buy all the equipment. So I'm not sure if it's played in the winter. I'm hoping that they do well, but it's been very well received. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Overman. Supervisor Noble.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Administration Committee met last night, and one thing we did get resolved was, if you recall, we were looking for a method that the County Board Supervisors could get involved in expressing what they, would like to see with regards to negotiations before the negotiations start. And we determined that what we would do is about a month before we open, exchange initial proposals with whatever union is going to be having negotiations that year. we'll announce it at the county board meeting to the county board supervisors, and in administration committee we'll go into closed session and we'll entertain the input from county supervisors as to what what the feeling is from the county board. So that's what we will be doing in the future. The other thing is we have now had 2 sessions with regards to compensation for county supervisors, and we intend to meet next Wednesday. If anybody's interested, I would like to see as many people here as possible so that we can build some consensus. It would be the best if we could have some type of a consensus at that committee meeting so that we don't so basically we have, when we get here to the county board floor, hopefully in the first meeting of August, we have something that everybody is reasonably comfortable with. So next Wednesday, the 28th, 6:30, here in the second floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Noble. Supervisor Holman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Passed out this evening at the Legislative Committee is the working white paper called Kenosha County on the Move. I told you all that it would be on your desks this evening. I apologize that it is not on your desk. It is posted online in a draft format. There's some minor edits that still need to be made. However, it does exist, and the substantive form will not be changed, but there are some small minor edits that still need to be made. For those of you that wish to view a paper copy, that's fine. You can ask me, but I will make sure that there is one sitting in the county clerk's office for you to view tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. One issue I failed to mention at the August 3rd meeting, I believe that'll be the next board meeting. I intend to have a presentation from the consulting firm that has done the analysis of both the courthouse building, Molinaro building, and was there a third? Maybe just wrapping up this one. Similar to the work that's being done in Ruther that we've observed for the past many, many months coming in and out of this building. The report has been completed. It's been taken through the Building and Grounds Committee over the last 6-8 months or better, and we will have a presentation to give the full board an idea of where things sit with regard to those buildings and the conditions of those buildings, so we're prepared to talk about them at budget time with regard to the capital plan. With that, we will go to appointments.
County Executive Appointments, number 16, John O'Day to serve on the Brookside Board of Trustees.
Again, unless there is opposition, I will entertain a motion to moved by Supervisor Noble, seconded by Vice Chair Eckerness, on the appointment of Supervisor O'Day to the Board of Brookside Trustees. Supervisor Noble.
For the appointment to the Brookside Trustees to replace former Supervisor Gordy West. This would normally come to the Administration Committee, but with Gordy West's health, as the Chairman had mentioned, we think it's important to get Supervisor O'Day on that committee right away. So, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rose.
I would support the position John O'Day on the Brookside Board. My only inquiry of the Corporation Council is that required that we suspend the rules to consider this, as it's not going to committee first.
I believe you can act on that tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Any other comment? Seeing no other lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
County Executive Appointments 17 through 22. Martin Lecoq to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. John O'Day to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. Kurt Bauer to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. Joe Huck to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. George Melcher to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. Edward Van Tyne to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council.
Items 17 through 22 are all referred to the Land Use Committee. New business.
Resolution 30, From the Administration and Finance Committees, a resolution to approve the successor labor agreement between Kenosha County and SEIU Local 168 Maintenance and Custodial Workers, submitted by Administration Committee. Noble, yes. Akernis, yes. Alberman, yes. Gale Gens, yes. Celebre, yes. Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens excused. Singer, yes. Akernis excused.
Supervisor Noble.
I move resolution number 30.
Resolution 30 moved by Supervisor Noble, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Noble.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you this evening is for consideration is a successor labor agreement between Kenosha County and Local 168, covering wages and benefits for maintenance and custodial employees. Some of the significant terms of the agreement are as follows. First of all, it's a 3-year agreement, 2010 through 2012. There's a 2% wage increase that it takes effect on December 19th of 2010, and 0% increases for both years 2011 and 2012. There's increases in the health insurance co-pays for all 3 years. Currently it's $31. In 2010 it goes to $32, 2011 $33, and 2012 $34. The inpatient and outpatient co-pays also increased from $100 to $140 in 2010, and then in 2011 it goes to $150. Ambulance service co-pay goes from $31 to $60, and the annual cap on chiropractic care is established at $2,500. There's increases in the drug co-pays as well. The generic drug pay goes from $10 to $11 in 2010 and $12 in 2011. 2K co-pays for 90-day supply is up from a single co-pay. There's other increases in the drugs, if we, which is spelled out in your packet. For new hires only, they eliminate the paid health insurance benefit for employees who retire with 15 years of service and who are between the ages of 60 and 65 for the duration of the agreement. But the elimination of this benefit will become permanent if 2 other bargaining units agree to eliminate prior to December 2012. So there is a caveat there that this may or may not take place. The side letter regarding no subcontracting was renewed. The no layoff guarantee was through March 2012 was put in there. The side letter for extra vacation days was renewed. However, it was changed or slightly decreased from 3, 3, and 3 down to 2, 4, and 2. And then I think the final significant change would be the entry-level starting wage step is eliminated, and it basically starts with the 6-month level, becomes the entry-level starting wage, which is approximately $11.25. And then it also drops the 4-year step and changes the 5-year steps to 54 months. So the custodian can reach the top of his scale, which is $15.96 in 4.5 years versus what was 5 years. The total cost to the county over the life of the contract, which is 3 years, is 8.42%, which averages out to be at 2.73% per annum. If there's any questions with regards to to the personnel department, Diane Yule is here. If regarding the negotiations of Corporation Counsel is here, he was on the negotiating team. So with that closes my remarks.
Thank you, Supervisor Noble. Any other supervisor wishing to speak in this issue? Seeing no other lights, this requires a roll call. No, simple voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 31, from Building and Grounds and Finance Committees, a resolution to accept the Wisconsin Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Grady, yes. Zurbon, yes. Esposito, excused. Komeyer, excused. Grulich, yes. Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens, excused. Singer, yes. Ekernis, excused.
Supervisor Grady.
Move number 30.
31.
Resolution 31 moved by Supervisor Grady, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project involves the building expansion immediately to the north of us, and more correctly, not the expansion itself, but the existing safety building, which really has, by comparison, a rather outmoded HVAC system. The new building, new extension, new addition coming online will be all efficient. It'll all be digital. It'll have variable speed motors for moving the airflow. The particular issue with the older part of the building is there's nothing there to match it up to make it as modern as the new addition. So in the bidding process, one of the bid alternates was laid out for the price of $225,000 to bring the older section of this safety building up to current standards. And we were expecting we could get a grant for this, which we did, in the amount of $225,000. So if we accept this, we can basically bring that older shell of the building, that older portion, up to current standards. And in the process, if you look at the last page of your handout here, you can see that the annualized savings are projected to be approximately $30,000 per year. So the payback is rather rapid. It's a good deal. The one thing to bring to your attention, though, is there is a possibility that to refurbish the existing HVAC system in the existing public safety building, it may go a bit over the $225,000. It may go as high as $265,000. So therefore, there is a provision that if need be, the county would match or put up $40,000 to make the whole project go as planned. I don't think it's anticipated we'll have to use that entire $40,000. It's probably just a portion of that, but it does merit your attention. So with that in mind, I would ask for your approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Any other comments on Resolution 31? Seeing no lights, this does require a roll call. All those in favor, P and plus, those opposed, P and minus. Motion carries 28-0. Clerk.
Resolution 32 from Extension, Education, and Finance Committees regarding UW Extension 2010 budget modification. From the Extension Committee, Johnson, yes. Hallman, yes. Grulich, yes. Arrington, yes. Boyd Frederick, yes. From Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness excused.
Supervisor Johnson.
Move to approve the resolution.
Resolution 32 moved by Supervisor Johnson, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Johnson.
This is a resolution asking permission to spend $21,000 for a Farm Fresh Atlas Project 2011 directory. The Farm Fresh Atlas is a directory of local food growers, farmer market, businesses, and producers of southeastern Wisconsin. The people that are part of the directory are paying the $21,000, so there's no tax levy, and I would ask for your approval.
Thank you. Any other supervisor wishing to speak on Resolution 32? Again, seeing no lights, this is a budget modification. All those in favor, P and plus, those opposed, P and minus. Resolution 32 carries 28-0.
Resolution 33 from Finance Committee, a resolution to approve the Kenosha County debt policy. Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness excused.
Supervisor Clark.
Mr. Chairman, I move Resolution 33.
Resolution 33 moved by Supervisor Clark, seconded by Supervisor O'Day. Supervisor Clark.
Thank you. Kenosha County last year in March of 2009 revised our debt policy. We find it necessary again to revise the debt policy this year. This revision really is in response to the IRS is now looking at certain arbitrage situations where they're regulating or taking a look whether governments are in compliance with instances or situation where there's an arbitrage. So, for instance, if we were to go borrow money and invest it and it had a spread, that's a prohibited practice. that could cause our debt to become non-tax exempt, and the county would be subject to a huge tax liability if that were to ever happen. This policy, primarily, you have a redlined policy on your desk. It was in your packet. On page 7, it talks about the debt management practices, and it's really looking in the arbitrage area, changes to compliance, in really trying to get in more compliance with what those questionnaires are asking, or to make sure we're covering the bases so we have no issue. These are relatively minor changes, but they go a long ways should the county receive a letter or an examination request from the IRS. They go a long ways when we are out at bond council having sound financial policies in place. They certainly help our bond rating, which has increased over the years, and most recently during these difficult economic times, we've been able to maintain them and also improve our management rating. And it's through these the look at these policies and making sure that we're current. So primarily on those 2 pages, we're really dealing with the arbitrage compliance practices, and those are the reasons for the change. I urge the county board to pass this unanimously.
Thank you, Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Singer.
Thank you, Chairman. In committee, it was brought up from Dave Gertzen that the IRS is doing audits of other municipalities on this, and so you got to give him a lot of credit because he's being real proactive on this. These are technical changes, just like we would have from land use, only on the bond side. The changes have been brought forth by and consulted with bond counsel, so that all the technicalities are taken care of. So we got to give Dave a lot of credit for being proactive rather than responding to an audit that they have. He wants to be ready for the audit when it does come to the county.
Thank you, Supervisor Singer. Good point. I appreciate Mr. Gertzen's diligence in many matters that are brought before the Finance Committee and the County Board. So, any other supervisors wishing to speak? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 34 from Finance Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Dave Gerstein as Director of the Department of Finance and Administration. Finance Committee, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens, excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness, excused.
Supervisor Clark.
I move Resolution 34.
Resolution 34 moved by Supervisor Clark, seconded by Supervisor Singer. Supervisor Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a smooth Finance Committee meeting. Was going to get out of there relatively quick, and then we got to this resolution. So, the county executive has the ability to appoint his directors. They work at his pleasure, and after every election, the county executive must reappoint their directors. In the packet is Dave Gerstein's resume. Dave is a CPA. He's been with Kenosha County for well over 20 years. He received his 25-year pin from the WICPA the other night. So he's done a great job for Kenosha County. His team with Al Swartz. The finances of our county are very well laid out so we can understand what's going on, and I don't think we could have a better person in that position. So I would urge that the county board support this reappointment unanimously.
Thank you, Supervisor Clark. Any other supervisor wishing to speak on Resolution 34? Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Mr. Gertzen, congratulations again.
Resolution 35 from Judiciary and Law and Finance Committees regarding additional funding from Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force's Strategic Initiative for Overtime Support. From Judiciary and Law, Michael, yes. Haas, yes. Ronald Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. From Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gentz excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness excused.
Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move resolution number 35.
Resolution 35 moved by Supervisor Michael, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is to accept the $9,000 in the Federal Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force's office to reimburse the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department, the KDOG unit, for overtime which was created with their work with the federal government. I urge your support for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other comment? Seeing no lights, this is a roll call vote. Those in favor, P and plus. Those opposed, P and minus. Motion carries 28-0. Clerk.
Resolution 36 from Judiciary and Law and Finance Committees regarding FY10 Law Enforcement Justice Assistance Grant. Judiciary and Law, Michael, yes. Haas, yes. Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. From Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gentz excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness excused.
Supervisor Michael.
Move resolution number 36.
Resolution 36 moved by Supervisor Michael, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is to accept the $24,463 from the Justice Assistant Grant. This money is to be used for law enforcement equipment and is the county's share of a larger grant awarded to the Kenosha Police Department. The money will be used to purchase upgrades in computer software, additional automatic electronic defibrillators for our marked squad cars, additional patrol rifles for marked squad cars, a snowmobile trailer for the snowmobile team, and helmets and microphones for the snowmobile team. It increases the revenue by $24,463 and the expenditures by $24,463. I urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other supervisor wishing to speak? Again, seeing no lights, this is a budget modification requiring roll call vote. P and plus if you're in favor, P and minus if you are opposed. Supervisor Gable, did I miss you? Motion carries 28-0.
Resolution 37 from Judiciary and Law and Finance Committees regarding Wisconsin Department of Transportation Kenosha County Pretrial Intensive Supervision Program Grant. From Judiciary and Law, Michael, yes. Haas, yes. Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gentz excused. Singer, yes. Eckerness excused.
Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move resolution number 37.
Resolution 37 moved by Supervisor Michael, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personally, this is probably one of the most important resolutions that I believe Judiciary and Law deals with. This is funding for what's called the Wisconsin Correctional Services. This is the agency that monitors individuals when they're charged with OWI offenses, meaning alcohol-related driving offenses. It allows our judges to know what is going on when individuals are out on bond. They're tested randomly. It's something that is very important, and I've spoken with the 8 circuit court judges, the district attorney, and the sheriff. All of them are they're in great support for this agency. This resolution is to accept $47,625 from the Department of Transportation, the Bureau of Transportation Safety to fund our drunk driving intensive sanction program. The funding runs from July 1st of 2010 to June 30th of 2011. The funding, along with the Sheriff's Department in-kind match, client fees from clients, affords approximately about $168,000 budget planned. The Wisconsin Community Services is the one that runs the project. This is the 14th year it's been in. It's the 14th year it's been in effect. As I stated, I'd urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other supervisor wishing to speak on Resolution 37? Supervisor Zerban.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple questions, and I don't know if the committee chair can answer them or not, but I do see some representatives from the Sheriff's Department who might be able to help me with this. I'm for any kind of program that's going to help reduce incidences of drunk driving and repeat offenses, and reduce incarceration, to prevent burdening our judicial system. But when I read in the paper over and over again about somebody getting their 4th, 5th, 6th DUI and then eventually killing somebody, I'm more inclined to question a program like this and try and find out how outcome measures are in place in a program like this to measure their effectiveness. So can the committee chair, or perhaps the Sheriff's Department, help me understand what this, if this has been in place in the last 14 years, do we have any kind of hard data showing that this has helped prevent repeat offenses? Because I see we're spending levy tax dollars here, and I'd really like to have a little bit more information on it.
Well, the main purpose of this program is the actual monitoring, because you have to remember when a person is charged with the criminal offense of operating while intoxicated, they have a right to have bond. And when they post their bond, this agency is the agency that monitors to make sure that they're bond compliant, meaning that you have an agency that has them actually drop, they do a UA, so they give their specimen, and it's tested to make sure that they are not using alcohol and that they are being compliant. There is also a part of this program where individuals go through counseling and things like that, but one of the major components of this program is the fact that it's actually monitoring individuals that have been out on bond. And you have to remember, when you're out on bond, you have not been convicted of a crime. You've only been charged, so it's the monitoring mechanism. That's what makes this program so important.
So I'm to understand that once somebody has been arrested and they're out on bond, this program helps us monitor offenses that take place in Kenosha County, and to make sure that they're not drinking while they're out on bond.
Correct.
How does that, I'm just curious, then how does that deter repeat offenses?
Well, there's also the other aspect of the program. I mean, it's two-folded. I mean, one of our major concerns is if somebody's suffering from alcohol or drug abuse, they get charged, they're released, and they go back out and they get behind the wheel and they kill somebody. So, I mean, our major concern is that we're actually, there's a mechanism that's actually monitoring them. I mean, the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department can't just drive around when somebody's out on bond and follow people to see if they're compliant. This agency does that. And the other aspect is the fact that it does have a mechanism or a component of education to educate people and to get them into proper counseling. I mean,
so you're saying this is a mechanism in place to protect safety of our population between the period of when they've been arrested and then either convicted or not?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Anything else? Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing no lights, this is again a roll call. Let me clear the board. All those in favor, P and plus. Those opposed, P and minus. Again, motion carries 28-0. Resolution 37 passes.
Resolution 38 from the Land Use Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of George E. Melcher as Director of the Department of Planning and Development. From Land Use, Brunig, yes. Esposito, yes. Colmeyer excused. Underhill, yes. Decker, yes.
Supervisor Brunig.
Move resolution number 38.
Resolution 38 moved by Supervisor Brunig, seconded by Supervisor Esposito. Supervisor Brunig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. George Melcher has been the Director of the Department of Planning and Development for 34 years now, and I believe that it is his vision and expertise with land development that has brought Kenosha County to where we are today and where he will take us into the future. This has passed unanimously in the committee, and I urge everyone's support. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other supervisor comments on Resolution 38? Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Melcher, welcome again.
Communications from George E. Melcher, Director of Planning and Development, regarding future rezonings.
Refer to land use.
Approval of the July 6, 2010 minutes by Supervisor Johnson.
Supervisor Johnson.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented by Supervisor Johnson, seconded by Supervisor Singer. Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Motion adjourned by Supervisor Clark, seconded by Supervisor Kubicki. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned.